Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today's video is going to be an unboxing and first impression of two new Leonardo pens that both came today. So one is from Endless Pens and the other is from Atlas Stationers. The Endless Pens one is an Endless Pens exclusive. So I'm going to open that one first. I'm going to save what I'm hoping to be the prettiest one for last. This is I think they call it the Endless and Hatch exclusive. It's a Leonardo Momento Zero. When I purchased this, there were still quite a few left, but I can't seem to find them on their site anymore. There's this model and there's their Hermes as well, named after gods. And there was another one, and I forget the name of that one, but I don't see any of them on the site anymore. So we're gonna check out this one. So this is the Hades model. And I got this one because I really like the look of wood pens. And although this is a resin pen, it has kind of at least in the pictures, a kind of a wood look to it. So I picked this one. Although the Hermes was, I think had a 20% discount. I chose this one without the 20% just because I like the way it looked. So I'm gonna fumble with this a little bit and try to get it out of this box. So you just have the outer box with hopefully what the pen looks like. And it's hatched by Endless Pens in collaboration with McKenzie Penworks and 20 sides. So a lot of people collaborating on this one pen with Leonardo and Endless Pens. It wasn't super expensive. I don't recall how much it was. I will put that on the screen later. So it just says Leonardo, fatto a mano in Italia, made by hand in Italy. So just your usual warranty. And this is the pen. It's more glittery. I can see offhand it's a lot more glittery than it looked in the photos, but still very pretty. If you look at the photo here, it looks very satiny, not as glittery. Totally looks different, but still very pretty. Not quite how I would like for it to look, but still very pretty. Nice ruthenium trim. And this is limited to how many pens? 300? No, it's 120 pens. And I have number 106. So it has ruthenium trim. This is an extra fine nib. Very pretty pen. Although it looks very different than the pictures and on the box. The box is what I was hoping to get. But still, very pretty pen. I think it was about, oh, I won't guess. I know it was like in the 200s. So I will save this, put this aside, and I'll ink these up in a minute. So let's get out the Atlas Stationers. And this one I pre-ordered. And I got this because I missed out on the Endless Pens, the Paraiso, and the Mother of Pearl. So I'm kind of hoping that this one will look kind of like those. And this is one of the Galactica models. If you're familiar with the Paraiso and the Mother of Pearl, you may know which one I got. And this also wasn't too expensive. So this is the Galactica. And I forgot when I pre-ordered this, maybe early last month. And it came early. So yeah, this looks like I was hoping it would look. So this is the Nebula. And I don't think there's anything in here. And like the Endless Pens exclusive, this one also has two other versions. And I don't know their names offhand, but I guess they're in here. So this is the Nebula, and this was also in collaboration with Tailored Pen Company. So these are limited to 300 pens. See if I can find some English here so I can get the names of the other two. Okay, so one is Nana Rosa and Universe. So the Nana Rosa is in rose gold trim. The Universe is limited to 300 in palladium trim. And the Nebula, which is what I have here, is limited to 300 pieces in gold trim. A lot of interesting information in here. Nice little booklet. So both of these are steel nibs. I think the gold nib of the Galactica comes with ink, if I'm not mistaken. So although it's still not as pretty as the Mother of Pearl or the Paraiso, it's still beautiful pen. Both of these pens are very beautiful. And this one is number 104 of 300. This one has a nice ink window. And this is a extra fine flex. So both are extra fines. One's flex and one's not. So I'm going to ink these up. I forgot to get my ink, so one sec. So while I was waiting for the Endless Pens to come in, that was shipped by USPS. I already kind of picked my inks. So for the Nebula, I'm going to put Monteverde Ice Cookie. And for the Hades, I'm going to use Diplomat Sepia Black. And although this pen looks a little bit different, I think the Sepia Black still will work. Yeah, I think Sepia Black will work. So I'll show you some up close before I ink them up. So this is the Hades. The ruthenium trim. And it's just a Momento Zero. No ink window like the other. So there's the nib. It's the feed, a plastic feed. And this one is a cartridge converter, which is fine with me. I don't really have a preference over piston fillers versus cartridge converters. I think back fillers are probably my favorite. This does have an end cap. I think back fillers are my favorite, but I really have no preference over converters versus piston. So again, this is the Hades. As your usual ball clip. Conical finial, same end finial. It's a ruthenium band there. Very pretty. And here's the Nebula, Galactica Nebula. Some cream and gold. Both of these are very goldy. And some pretty blues, greens. Again, you have a ball clip. Same top finial. And this is a piston filler. I'm assuming since it has a ink window. So this is the extra fine flex nib. This is my first extra fine flex from Leonardo, so that should be pretty interesting. That's that. So let's ink these up. This is my first time using the Monteverde Ice Cookie. I don't think it's a great match, but it doesn't really matter. It's good, close enough. I've had this for a minute, so it's time to get some use out of it. So you can see it's a nice deep blue. Nice smooth piston. And I can already see that it's gotten a really good feel. So you see this, the ice cookie looks like on the paper towel. Now we'll use sepia black. This is one of my favorite black inks, although it has a little brown tinge to it. I'm not typically a black ink user, but I do like this dark brownish black ink. It's pretty low, so hopefully I can get some out of here. Might have to figure out a way to tilt this bottle. I make too much of a mess. And again, this is a fine. I'm sorry, an extra fine. And there's the sepia black. Let's do some writing samples. Test these out. I'm going to use my black and red notebook today. Surprise, surprise. So before I do that, I'm going to have to clean up my area so I can focus. Oop. Before I actually start the writing samples, I compare these, compare the sizes. So this one is quite a bit bigger than the Hades. And this is, so this must be a Grande model. And this is a regular Momento Zero, which you can see it's the same as the Hades. So the Galactica is apparently a Momento Zero Grande. It's a little bit shorter than my Bohemian Twilight here, but not very much. The Bohemian Twilight has a flat finial, whereas the Galactica has a pointy finial. Let's start writing with these. We're going to see how these two write. Start with the Hades. Leonardo. Make sure I'm in the frame. Am I in frame? Leonardo Momento Zero. This is Hades. And this is Hatch by Endless Pens. And this is an extra fine steel nib. And the ink is Diplomat, Sepia Black. This is a pretty dry ink. in an extra fine nib, but I must say it feels really good. Nothing really, very light. It does write in reverse, but it's very light, and then it kind of dries out. So that's how it looks. I would say pretty nice. Feels pretty nice. Very smooth. Nice, smooth, well-tuned, extra fine. So I can tell some attention was definitely paid to the nib. So very, very nice pen. So we'll get on to the Nebula. So Leonardo Momento Zero. So Momento Zero 2.0 Grande. And this is the Galactica. This is a Nebula. And this is, what I say, collaboration with who? I can't remember anything today. Oh. Leonardo Lab with Tailored Pen Company. And this is my first pen from Tailored Pen Company. This is an extra fine. It's an elastic extra fine and steel. As you can see, it looks a little bit thicker than the other extra fine, but not, and it's wetter. Definitely wetter, unless it's the Monteverde ink, which that could be. Seems it's a tad bit thicker than the other extra fine. Nothing in reverse. It's quite a bit toothier, but I must say this section is super comfortable. Although they're both Leonardo Momento Zeros, but the feel of them, like this section feels a lot more comfortable. The weights feel about pretty much the same. You can see the sections here, like this section, there's not much to it compared to the Grande. My finger just fits in here just a little bit better, but they're both comfortable. Let me see if I can get more line weight variation. This elastic is not really a flex pen. I guess it's just for the bounce, for the feel. So before I let you go, I'm going to compare some of these line weights here. So this is the Hades, and I'm pushing down on it a little bit. So this is an extra fine, just a plain old extra fine. This is the Nebula. Elastic extra fine. Steel. Compare that. This is a gold, a 14 karat gold, extra fine that was tuned by Emmy at Penventure, so it's quite a bit thicker when pushed. So this is an extra fine 14 karat, but this was tuned. Very smooth, very nice. But I think I really like the way this one writes. I really like this extra fine. So this Momento Zero, this one here, I don't think it has any ink in it. This is a fine steel. Let me see if I can get it to work. Yeah. So this one is a Momento. This is a Leonardo Momento Magico. This is a fine. And the fine is pretty much like the Emmy extra fine here. Not very much difference in the line weights on these. But that's all I have for tonight. Just wanted to share my new pens day with you guys. I'll have these in my currently inked for March so I can provide more opinions on them. But I think for now, I'm pretty happy with what I received today. So thank you all for watching, and I will catch you next time. Take care.